Let's take a look at how things went down in Group E. For a small few moments, it looked as though both Spain and Germany would be out of the tournament, but Japan defeated Spain to win Group E. Spain still make it through in second due to a superior goal difference to Germany. They crash out, though, for a second consecutive World Cup. Wow, what a day it was. And who would have expected it to be Japan on top of this group? For those just few moments, Frank, it looked as though it was going to be Costa Rica and Japan going through.
Yeah,
let's welcome in, by the way, Archie and Tut and Luis Garcia. Yeah. But wow, Frank.
Yeah, for 3 minutes it was like crazy for Costa Rica. I think it was for like 10, 15 minutes a real roller coaster, you know, on everybody's heads, you know, who's going to go through, what's going to happen. Can you imagine Costa Rica and Japan going through, Spain and Germany out? And Germany managed to change the result to allow, in fact, Spain to go through. And but great, I'm happy because we see something nice. We see that football is not all about, you know, the level that you have, but it's that you have to prove every day and every game you play that you're really worth it.
Germany are out. Think about this. Poland are through. I mean, I would actually rather paint all the bathrooms in the house than watch them play. But they're through. They're through, and that's, you know, yellow cards and blah, blah, blah. But I tell you what, I would have had no sympathy for Spain had they gone out. Can't take anything for granted. I know it was an unlikely scenario, Costa Rica beating Germany, but we've seen the Germans recently. We've seen how fallible they are defensively. And listen, going into that game, Enrique's side had not qualified. He made the changes against a more than decent Japan side. It's a risk and reward, but what, 70 minutes into the game, give whatever it was, they were out. They were out and they were struggling. How much of that they knew, I don't know.
Well, he claims that they didn't know anything about what was going on the other side.
Didn't know what was going on, then he damn well should have known what's going on.
He said, I didn't know at any point that they weren't going out of the tournament. He didn't know is what he said right after that one. But Luis Garcia, Spain go through in second as group runners-up, and it might just suit them.
Yeah, that's what it looks, and it looks like they might have done it because on purpose, try to get second and maybe go against Morocco. That it looks like on paper it should be an easy game, but it's not like this. I think today, once again, Spain was exposed. You have to keep that consistency. You have to keep that intensity. And today, the midfield of Spain wasn't at that standard. I think when you face against a Japanese team, you know that you have to bring the best of the best. You have to run. You have to cope up with that intensity. And today, Spain was probably thinking about if we get a result, if we get just a draw, we're going to be fine. But the Japanese were not taking that. And that's why they suffered just too much. And at the end, you're going to face against a Moroccan team that is not an easy cookie. I can tell you that. I've seen them play quite a while, and it's a very tough team. They only concede one goal, and it's been today an own goal. And they got players up front who can be very, very dangerous. We all know very well in the city. They play in Spain at Sevilla. He arrived fresh into this World Cup, so it's not going to be an easy game. You think that maybe Croatia could have been worse, but I'm not sure about that. We've seen today playing Croatia, and he wasn't also a very good team either.
Listen, we can throw that conspiracy theory out the window.
Yeah, they didn't.
I mean,
they try to win the game.
Anybody that's peddling that needs to give their head a wobble. They beat Croatia at the Euros. OK, it was a high-scoring match, but they'll fancy their chances against any of these sides. They did not try and lose the game to finish second. They just lost the game.
I think what we saw in this game against Japan is what most of us were talking about, but particularly Luis, before the competition started, that they had problems up front, scoring goals, and they knew that defensively they didn't really know what they had. That all showed itself today. If you play a game and the opposition only has 18% of the ball and you lose, it shows where your problems are. It clearly shows where your problems are. And that's what we saw today.
They got a barrel load against Costa Rica.
Yeah, but... No, look, but it makes no difference, right? What you saw in this game, 82% of the ball, and you lose the game, and you lose 2 goals as well, tells you you've got a problem defensively. And if you've got 82% of the ball, and you lose the game, you're telling me that going forward you don't have a problem. It's staring them right in the face where the problems are.
But they've banged all those goals. And Costa Rica were bad. I get that. Germany have put 4 past in the day. But they have scored goals in this competition. I think it's the other end. You know, Rodri going back in there. The German defence we saw today, we'll talk about that. It wasn't, you know, you could penetrate that pretty easy. He's put Rodri back in there. He has other centre-halves on the bench. Let's see, natural centre-halves. Let's see what he does now in the knockout phase, because they do create chances. I think it's the defensive end that's the problem, not the other end.
I mean, what I like today to see, because people were saying, oh, the game against Costa Rica, they got the position of the ball, like 80%. They made like more than 1,000 passes, which is the record. Today, 968 passes. For what? To lose 2-1 against a team who barely touched the ball? So what is the reality and the truthness of football? The effectiveness or the position of the ball? I think we have to go through also the what we see and the stats that we are analyzing to maybe go to a conclusion, you know.
Yeah, but I think we're missing something here, Frank. This is what Spain do. This is the model that's been successful for them, albeit with different players. They have been the best team to watch at one point in the world.
So are you saying that's the exception to the rule today?
I'm saying that's their methodology. That's the way Enrique wants them to play. That's how they've had success before. They're not out of this competition. They've just been given a bit of a bloody nose. And we're in the corner worrying about it for a little while. But there's no point us sitting here saying tiki-taka, tiki-taka. That's been Spain for what, the last 15, 20 years?
But surely that is the point when you have that much of the ball and it's about getting the second goal to finish the game off.
I agree.
Which is what happened against Costa Rica.
Yep.
But if you can't do that, and then you throw on what you're talking about defensively, this game for me stares Spain right in the face where the problems are, and it's both at the front and at the back.
Luis, what do you think of what the guys are saying? Do you think Luis Enrique does have some thinking to do going forward?
No, of course, every manager have to think about what is the performance of the team. And today, once again, we have to think that every game is totally different. We are trying to compare the game against Costa Rica, where, yeah, Costa Rica, we've seen it today, is a team that it can be quite open. When they had in their hands that they could go through, they start committing players up front and knowing that Germany was going to go against them. They needed to defend a little bit better, and they concede 3 goals in a row. So that shows that Costa Rica had a lot of problems in defense. But when you go and see and analyze what Japan is going to do against you, we've seen it. When they've done it against Germany, they've done it against Costa Rica. It's a team that has got a plan A and a plan B. And a plan A where they are very organized, very disciplined, very tight. And you've seen it. Spain was playing very well in the first half, trying to move the ball to one side and the other side. But only one chance, 2 shots on target. That's what they got, because they don't give any space. And in the second half, change again. They did it against Germany. They change again the mentality. They start pressing higher. They go good players up front, and then they make quick transitions that can be very dangerous with Spain trying to be open and looking for the second goal. That's what you have to analyze. You know that against teams that they are organized at the back, Spain always gets problems. It's very difficult to break those lines because they don't have a player who can dribble 1, 2 players like we've seen today. For example, Musiala, Sane, players who on the ball can be 1 or 2 players on dribbling or on the speed. That's what Spain doesn't have. What is go? Pace on the ball. Bring the ball, tiki-taka, one side or the other side. Try to break those lines, moving quick the ball. Today, it was very slow. It was not committed up front. And at the end, you get what you deserve. Today, Japan was better with the plan A and the plan B.
Maybe when they made those changes, subconsciously, in the player's mind as well, it was
done.
We're done. It's like Germany will beat Costa Rica. We're kind of done. It's a little bit flat. There's not the intensity about it. There's not the pace. I just think it's difficult to make an argument about goals up front when we've just finished the 3rd game of this competition and they've got 9.
The thing
Do you know what I mean?
The thing is, it doesn't make any sense.
They got 9 goals.
The problem
Costa
is-
Rica, I understand.
Right.
But that's the problem, isn't it? Sometimes it can lull you into a false sense of security.
They
The
scored
fact
7.
that you've scored all these goals, but the truth is, with so much of the ball, they couldn't really produce clear chances against a team that actually defended well.
Guys, let's talk about the controversy in this game now. There's been a lot of talk about that second goal
What
from
controversy?
Japan and whether the ball went out of play before the goal was scored. This is the picture that was doing the rounds, basically, and there were different angles of it as well that got everybody talking about. So Japan scoring his second goal in the 51st minute, cuts the ball back from the goal line, but the assistant's flag went up for the ball being out of play for a goal kick. VAR decision, goal, ball in play. Our guy, Dale Judge said...
Referees and the assistant's decision was a goal.
So for the VAR, Fernando Guerrero of Mexico, to overturn the decision of the assistant, he has to have definitive evidence that part of the ball is on the line. Importantly, this isn't just about the ball touching the ground. The curvature overhanging the line also counts. So basically, it's the whole spherical part of the ball, and if part of that's over it.
Some people obviously think it's like well, the ball has to be touching the line. It doesn't. If you watch players taking corner kicks now, they place the ball close to the quadrant.
Yeah.
And it's not on the line, it's not touching the line.
A little bit outside, yeah.
But it's overhanging the line. And I honestly think this is quite simple from watching the game and what I've seen. Was the referees and these assistants called it live. It was a close one. And clearly it looks to me as if we're talking millimetres, but the ball from the angles we've seen, or I've seen, is overhanging by millimetres. And so the goal stands. It's inconclusive that the whole ball was totally over the line, so you cannot go back and rule it out. I'm guessing there's somebody close to us thinks different.
Yeah, of course I think different, because even if I agree with you, because I think it's still in, I don't have the 100%...
What do you mean you agree? Is it in or out?
No, we don't know. We don't know. We don't know. No. I said no. It's what I think. That's only my own opinion. The VAR is there to tell us at 100% if they know, and they have to show us, or to the broadcast, we can show to the audience, if it's in or out. If they don't have a 100% evidence that it's in or out, you should go back to the decision of the referee. And what was the decision of the referee? Out, because the linesman put the flag up. So
goal.
You have to go back to no goal. That's what it is. That's the law. That's what has been explained by everybody. So because, and it's a mistake by the linesman, and it's like penalties when the guy say penalty where they don't wait for the VAR. The referee don't wait for the VAR. Wait for the VAR. Don't say anything. Then you can change your mind. But the ref shouldn't be able to. Well, that's the law. Is not able to change the law if you're not 100% sure through the VAR.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.